Today, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean Pierre held a press conference in which she was asked some pretty ridiculous questions, as you'd expect, about the averted government shutdown, about Donald Trump, and some strange questions about President Biden. And she used the opportunity to absolutely torch the nonsense that was being asked of her, call out Donald Trump, and make one really interesting and specific point that I think needs to be talked about more about the Biden presidency that we are going to get into. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really means the world to me. Now, we have a couple of clips of Karine Jean Pierre, but instead of just stopping and starting them, I want to run them all the way through, and we're going to talk about them after. So let's take a look.
Thanks, Karine. Would the president support a four-bill strategy that we've seen discussed today, which would separate clean CR from a farm bill extension, disaster aid, and debt limit increase?
I'm not going to get into hypotheticals. What I can say is there is a I'm going to get very repetitive here because it is true and it needs to be said. There is a bipartisan agreement. There's a deal that was agreed upon, and that's what they need to move forward with. And when I mean they, I mean the Republicans in Congress. They need to move forward with that deal. That's what they said, with the deal that was agreed upon. That's what they said they would move forward with. The speaker said that, and he's not holding up his side of the bargain. He's not. His side of the deal, he is not holding up.
And in response to President-elect Trump's statements this morning that this is a Biden problem, but if Republicans can help solve it, they will. I imagine you'll repeat some of what you just said, but in response to that.
Congressional Republicans made their decision because of what the president-elect said at their direction, the direction of the president-elect, and the right direction of Elon Musk. There was a bipartisan deal on the table. They were moving forward. The speaker agreed to do this, to move forward the bipartisan deal, and they stopped that because of what the president-elect said and what Elon Musk said. They wanted to clear a way for their billionaire friends, a tax cut, $5 trillion to the national debt, with tax cuts to billionaires, for billionaires. So that's the reality. You've all reported this. We've seen this. We saw what was being stated, what was being put out there by the president-elect and Elon Musk. There's no hiding from that. That's the reality. And so, you know, we're talking about, this is not politics here. We're talking about the American people who need these programs, who need it. And so, Political Playbook said, had to say what they had to say about this. Trump picked the fight. He picked the fight, and it was Trump. Well, with him and Elon Musk, who sank the bipartisan deal. That's what you all are reporting. You can't twist the facts or change history here.
I'm just going to try to ask this a different way.
Yeah.
The president is still in
answer.
office. I'm just going to try. He's still in office for a month. The American people really haven't heard from him on whether or not the government is going to shut down. Wouldn't the message hit differently if the president were out there countering the message that we're hearing from the president-elect and Elon Musk? Why isn't he speaking on this?
Republicans are breaking their word. They are breaking their word to support a bipartisan agreement. We would not be in this position if Republicans in the House did not break their word. That's where we are. And we're talking about what the agreement, when you think about what the agreement would do, it would lower prescription drugs costs and make it harder to offshore jobs to China. We're talking about veterans who need these services. And instead, what they want to do is they put forth a bill that would pave the way for tax break for billionaires. That's what they did. Instead of going with a bipartisan agreement, they put forth something that would pave the way for their billionaire friends. That's not about the American people. That is just not about the American people. And we have been here before when we're trying to make sure that there's not a government shutdown. The president has had the same, kind of the same strategy. He knows how to work with Congress. And so in this instance, the Republicans blew this deal up. They did. They blew it up, and they need to fix it. This is not for the president to fix. This is not for us to fix. This is for Republicans in Congress to fix the mess that they created.
But has he expressed any thoughts or feelings on the president-elect and Elon Musk? talking about
You're
this
hearing
process?
what I'm saying, right? I speak for the President of the United States. So when I speak for the President of the United States, I am speaking directly for him. So you are hearing where he feels about this, what his thoughts are about this, and we believe, and the American people should know this, that Republicans need to fix the mess that they caused. The Speaker knows how to get this right. To get this right is to move forward with a bipartisan agreement, the bipartisan agreement that they had come to not too long ago. We thought we were going to move forward with that agreement, and they blew it up. They blew it up. You good? Okay.
Thanks, Karine. Why hasn't President Biden said anything in the public about this? Don't the American people deserve to know why millions of federal workers could enter this holiday period without a paycheck?
Well, Americans need to know that Republicans are getting in the way here, and they are the ones who have created this mess. That's the reality. That's the fact. And the president, and let me just take a step back. This is not the first time we've been here, and the president has had this approach before. He understands how Congress works. He's been around for some time. He understands what strategy works here to get this done. So this is not the first time that I'm being asked this question about the president and his outreach. I just mentioned he made 2 calls. He was in touch with the leader, the Democratic leaders on both the House and the Senate, Schumer and Jeffries. So, and his team is continuing to have that conversation. But this is the mess that was created by Speaker Johnson. He needs to fix this. That's what the American people need to be very clear about. Very clear. There was a bipartisan agreement, and he's not holding up his side of the bargain here.
We hear that message from you, but why aren't we hearing that directly from the president? Why haven't we seen or heard from President Biden himself?
This is a strategy that we have done many times before, not the first time. And this is for Republicans in Congress, in the House specifically, to fix. They created this mess. There was a bipartisan agreement. There was a bipartisan agreement.
To come in front of cameras
There
and speak
was a
directly to the American
bipartisan
people.
agreement. There was a bipartisan agreement. And so what we want to do and what the president wants to make sure we do is he stands to ready to help get a bipartisan deal through. That's what he wants to see. And, this is something that Republicans should own here. What they tried to jam at the 11th hour doesn't reflect and what that bipartisan deal that they came up with obviously with Democrats. And, Republicans are showing a disregard for the American people.
Just lastly, some leading Democrats are calling Elon Musk President Musk or Co-President Musk. What is the White House's and President Biden's reaction to this labeling of Elon Musk, and whether or not House Republicans are listening more to this billionaire than the president-elect?
What I can say is congressional Republicans at the direction, and you all know this, you all reported this, of President Trump and Elon Musk are trying to pave the way. What they're doing is trying to pave the way for $5 trillion to our national debt. That's what this decision does. You're talking about with cuts for billionaires, slashing Social Security, slashing Medicare, slashing Head Start. Congressional Republicans did what they did because of what the president-elect said and what Elon Musk said. That's the reality. You guys all reported this. That's why we are where we are today. So this is for Speaker Johnson to fix. This is the mess that he created. He needs to fix this. Again, a bipartisan agreement. There is a bipartisan agreement.
So a lot to get into there, and I want to talk about the Biden point at the end, and we're going to get into that. But first, clearly Republicans don't know how to govern. Mike Johnson had to be saved by Democrats once again because we actually do care about the government shutdown, and we don't want to see people lose their wages over the Christmas holiday. We don't want national parks to be closed, VA hospitals to be closed. We understand that government shutdowns are horribly impactful to our economy. Of course, Republicans don't care about that, neither do their wealthy donors. They'll be fine. It doesn't affect them, but we actually do care about it. And on the point of poor governance, I love that Karine Jean Pierre is talking about the failures that will be Donald Trump's economic agenda, because everyone for some reason thought that this guy who crashed our economy the last time and ran up the national deficit more than any president in history, and that was before COVID, is somehow going to lower prices and make your eggs cheaper, when that's not happening. And so we have to continue to reiterate that every single day, how Donald Trump is only there to serve himself and his anger, the vengeance he wants to act on, and of course his co-president, or maybe the real president, and Elon Musk. That's their only focus. But if we want to talk about the actual success of presidential administrations, let's talk about President Biden, because there's been this conversation about his absence lately, which I think is in some ways warranted. And you may disagree with me on this, but I would have loved a little bit more of a vocal conversation from President Biden following the pardon of Hunter on what he will be doing going forward with potential pardons that are being discussed for people like Liz Cheney or Jack Smith or Adam Kinzinger or Mark Milley. I would have loved President Biden to reiterate what I know he believes, that he wants to protect these people because he knows that Donald Trump will prosecute his political enemies. He will go after them. But I don't think that's necessarily a fair criticism of President Biden in the larger sense when he still has an opportunity to do so. And so this absence discussion is a little weird, especially in light of some recent news that we have that President Biden just confirmed a historic 235th federal judge. President Biden has confirmed 235 federal judges, which is more than any president in a single term. It actually breaks Donald Trump's record for his first term, so check that off as another thing that Biden is better at Trump than. And that's what President Biden's part of his legacy will be, is the enormous number of judges he was able to confirm, and what that will do to help shore up institutions under Donald Trump when he'll try to use the legal system to attack his political enemies. There will still be Biden judges who are making sure that doesn't happen. So when someone is talking about the absence of President Biden, sure, I understand if you're citing specific concerns about not speaking the way we need to the American people about certain issues, but really, the work is still being done every single day. If you're not paying attention to it, that's kind of on you. And we're going to continue to talk about that work every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.